Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And wow, I would assume that most of you, like myself, have been watching the hearing. And what an emotionally charged hearing. With Christine doing her testimony and just all the events and Kavanagh doing his response, and then the events with Lindsey Graham, and then with Jeff Flake. There's just a lot going on. So it seems to me that things are playing out, and we have gotten, according to the last reading, we got the delay and we got the due process, because I don't know, I did stress that we were fighting for due process, and it looks like we got it. I think that's only kind of a half a victory here because we only get an FBI investigation for a week, but it is a victory because we actually got it, and it is longer than what they gave Anita Hill when she went through this back in the early 90s. So what I want to do is, I don't want to do another reading on Kavanagh. I mean, I'm sure I'm just going to let the cards play out from the previous three readings. I want to kind of focus this reading on, I want to do one on Flake, on Senator Flake, and I also want to do one on Lindsey Graham, because his emotional outburst really highlighted where we are now. You saw some really contrasting. You see, for me, when I see all these events going, I see the energies moving. It's these clashing energies, and you can see the momentum mounting and things, it's kind of like this energetic clash. It's a storm. It's a storm that's trying to clear. And that would be the whole chaos energy. Now, is chaos finally starting to dissipate? I never underestimate chaos energy, because chaos energy has a funny way of making you feel like things are going your way, and then just something turns on its head and it takes it the other way, and you're just like, what? So I'm not going to try to say whether or not we have things moving in our hands, but it is literally chaos energy. Whoever can finally get control and bring the order in is what's going to finally, that's why they say order rises out of chaos. This is the two sides that are colliding. They're either going to come to a consensus and rise, or one side will be forced to retreat, the other side will rise. So it's a very complex little battle, chaos is. So I did get I saw a comment that said my last reading was very biased, and you know what I mean, and they were quite surprised. It was kind of like, wow, that was very biased, and they're not wrong. That was very much so, because when I do these cards, I try to move into the energy stream of the question that I'm asking. And that one I was asking from the perspective of the victims, and that energy is so powerful. It really is powerful. I mean, you try to stay separate from it so that you're just an observer in it, but sometimes it just reaches out and grasps a hold of you. And that their cry to be heard, that energy of the victims needing to be heard, wanting due process, it was coming out very strongly, and it did move bias. And when I look back at it, I was like, yeah, that was pretty biased. But I'm so against domestic violence. I'm a very big advocate to end domestic violence, to end assaults, even any sort of abusive behavior, because I do believe everybody should be on equal grounds. It's a very big imbalance of power. And it comes in so many different forms, and I want it to end in all forms, because everybody should not be bullied into submission and stuff where they end up finding themselves in situations they can't get themselves out of, or the assault situations, and it's a very big issue. And so I think that's another reason why I was so easily drawn into that energy, because, of my work of trying to help people move through traumatic situations in their lives, and a lot of it stems from abuse and assault in many different forms and stuff. So, but I try to keep things very neutral, try to keep my own energies out of it and try to keep myself separate from it. But I think in this time, it's a very powerful energy. This desire for being domestic violence victims, abuse victims, sexual assault victims, and these energies are now coming forward saying we cannot be silenced anymore. So that's probably where that came from. So, and I think now that we got some due process, it's not perfect. I mean, you only gave the FBI a week to make this happen, to go deal with all of it. But from my understanding, it is the FBI. The moment that the order was given from the president to request one, they moved so fast. It was like, boom, they were out and moving. Okay, let's go back to this because I'm rambling now. I want to do a reading on, since we're already in that energy, or I'm already in that energy of what the victims and those people who confronted Jeff Flake and helped propel him into this idea that, where he gave that speech of going, we're being a country ripped apart, and we need to have this investigation. My condition for a vote is to have an investigation, which at first it didn't look like the Republicans were going to follow through, but then they did. So, and now that we have this investigation, what brought him to that? Okay, so let's try to look at him in that fashion. Now, Flake is not up for re-election. Most of you know he's stepping down from his position here in Arizona. We have 2 females that are currently in the running for his position. So we'll see how that goes. One day I'm going to do a reading on them too, because, I would like to know. It's my state. So I want to see where his energy is and what brought him there, because this guy usually he can sometimes talk a big game, but he won't follow through with it, and even when he has he has nothing to lose or to gain, he still usually sticks with, he'll say one thing, but then he falls in line and does another, follows with the Republican Party. So but let's see what happened. Why did he come to this decision? What comes up for him? I am using my spellcaster's deck because I think this is appropriate when I move into, because it has a different energy than the Rider-Waite. So I'm going to use this. So let's go in. Jeff Flake. What brought him to where he is? And where is it going to lead? What is it? How did he get to where he is? All right. I am not shuffling so good today. I'll keep going. All right. Okay. Let's see. Wishes. 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups is wishes granted. So my immediate thought is that he heard those females who stopped them in the elevator. I think the thing is when he goes in, he's just like, it's a very party line. I mean, there's this insulated bubble all of these people in Washington seem to live in. I just feel like that when these women came forward, it's like they see things on the news, but it's through the slant of the news, or they see things from whatever reports come in that their aides would give them on a piece of paper. And then suddenly you were confronted by individuals and beings and stuff. And then sometimes they just feel like they're being attacked, and then they respond in that way. But something inside of him paused, and as he was listening, he was suddenly, it was like that sudden realization that, this really will affect people horribly, and it will be not a good thing. So this is kind of the wishes granted. It's like he did go in and he said, okay, I'm going to call for this investigation, because that's what everybody wants. Because these people are like, does not what happened to me matter? This is kind of the situation that, because the way the Republicans were going about it was, we don't want an investigation. We're just going to ram it through. Okay, great. We heard you. Are you happy? We heard you. And we're like, no. Investigation. I think he heard. And then that's why he went in and did what he did. I do think, just from this, he was acting, he's kind of in this way, the acting as the genie. So, the past. So we have this Knight of Pentacles, the methodical working, the methodical putting one foot in front of the other, getting these things through. I mean, he was being methodical. But these guys, when you have a Knight of Pentacles being methodical, they can be so methodical that they get so laser focused they don't see what's going on around them. So their focus was, we're going to push Kavanagh through. We're going to get Kavanagh through. Push him through. Push him through. And they're so focused on that, they're not seeing the damage that is being caused around them. So when when it came to realization, he was like, oh, the blinder that he had kind of came off. So, okay. And the present, the starting of the new beginning. So absolutely, when he went in, he said, hey, I will only vote this forward if an investigation happens. And currently, presently, and because he did that, now, like I said, I wasn't entirely sure whether or not the Republicans were going to actually do it, because Mitch McConnell didn't give any indication that he would follow through. And he might not have, and he could have just ignored Jeff, but then that would have been a no vote. And then probably Mitch started talking, and then he was starting to discover there are other senators that were quietly feeling the same way. And then when he started realizing he didn't have enough votes, he went ahead and asked the president to order an investigation. So the new beginning has begun. It has started. What will be the challenge? Oh, okay. We have the Eight of Wands here. The Eight of Wands is the wands flying through the air, okay? The challenge is to get everything done in this limited time frame, right? They gave him only a week. So now everything is in forward motion. It's flying now. It's heading. It's going. But you got to try to get it all done within the constraints that the Senate has imposed upon the FBI. So it's probably why I think the FBI was really ready. It's like the moment Flake said it, they mobilized behind the scenes to get ready for in the event that the president orders them to go out and do it. And when that order came, they moved. There was no pause. It was like not even missing a beat, right? All right, the outcome is the Lovers. So here, these are the agreements. So the outcome, now that everything is in motion. So I think you're looking at this moment in time, you're looking at people are in agreement. People are in agreement with this move, okay? It's not, it's not the full-on investigation that anybody would want, but it's an investigation that we were almost not going to get. So people are in agreement that this investigation is moving forward. People are going to be talking. And actually, I would literally say that these would be people willing to speak to the FBI because, like I said, a lot of people were like, we want this, let this happen. So I think that would probably say we are in agreement. Okay, so The investigation is moving. So I would say that Jeff Flake definitely is the catalyst. He is the catalyst. He granted the wish that everybody was hoping for. We see that there's this hard work in the past, so focused I didn't see anything. The new energy is moving. The new opportunity is happening. The FBI is not waiting. They are moving. The challenge is the time constraint that they have to make everything happen within. And people are ready and willing to work with this. All right, so now that we see that this is the effect, Jeff Flake's effect upon all of this, let's see where we go now. All right. So, strength. We're moving into what he did, and now we're going to move into the underlying, okay? The underlying emotions for all of this. So, we have this, the moving and then the sudden realization, we have this moving and realization, the strength of the collective pushing forward and saying, look, what you're about to do is going to harm us. And it took a lot of strength to make that happen, right? Took a lot of strength for those women to say to him and plead to him, you've got to do it. And that anger that they were feeling, I think not only was it their own, but I think it was a collective energy. It was that funneling of energy, because energy moves where it's needed most, right? And I think that's where it was. And he also had to find that inner strength to go up against his party, to break the party protocol and move out. So there was a lot of strength. It was like the strength to finally to put things on the right path, put things in motion. The present. All right. The present, this is the thief card of getting away with things, like stealing things, grabbing things, and taking away. But it could also very well be he's taking his swords and going his own way, right? He's sneaking away from the party, right? So in the present, he is literally like this would be him picking up his swords and going, yeah, we had an agreement, but I can't go that way anymore. And he's moving off into a new direction. This is the more lesser known understanding of this card, I think, but this is one of the interpretations of this card. And I think that this would fit Flake. I think he's like the party line. Here's the agreement, here's your party, and you kind of just picked up the swords and headed in a new direction. So I think it definitely took them all kind of off guard and by surprise a little bit. Okay, the challenge. Okay, this would probably be Flake is his challenge is the whole magician thing, right? It's the being able to be perceived as the person, the maverick, because his counterpart was John McCain. McCain was the maverick. He was, the adopted son of Arizona, and McCain was very well respected, and he was the counterpart to McCain. And Flake would always talk to you like, he would talk to you in such reasonable manner, and you're like, yeah, and then he goes to vote, and you're like, what just happened? So I think the thing is that people don't fully trust him, because he'll tell you one thing to your face and then he'll turn around and do something else. And this was almost one of those situations. So his challenge is that when he says he's going to do something, he's got to stick to it, right? Stick to it. Stick to what you say you're going to do. Stick to it. If you're there to do what's right, and after you see all the evidence, stick to it. Don't just turn around and just fall in line with the party. That's why I think McCain was oftentimes respected, because sometimes he didn't follow party lines because he was trying to do what right. Now, didn't mean what you feel that you're doing is right always turns out right, but at least people understand where you stand. And that's what his challenge is his challenge is to not present something and then pull the wool over somebody's eyes. The manipulative part of the magician. His challenge is not to be that. It is to be the magician. So we have the Page of Cups. So we have this, this gives this idea of kind of celebration. You know, there's these three people celebrating emotions. They're very emotional, but they're also words. So I think the thing is when in relation to this particular card, right? I think that the Page of Cups the outcome is going to be actually more favorable to him. People are celebrating that the one small act of him saying, I want an investigation, was enough for people to be like, okay, good. He came to his senses, you know? And so people are toasting it, and they're just saying, good, thank you. It's kind of that thank. It's that emotional thank you. So I think he definitely followed through with what a very large portion of the collective is wanting. Not all of them. It's not all of them. I mean, he still has to contend with his constituents and his party. So anyways, now this last row is going to be more of like the progression of where he is now and to his outcome. I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. The fates. Okay. So he definitely turned the wheel. You know, most of the time the wheel turns not, you know, it will turn regardless. So when you're the magician and you have the wheel there, that means you are kind of in line. Your energy is in line with the turning of the wheel. And I think with him calling for that, the fate card definitely changed the trajectory of this whole confirmation process. I don't think people are too happy with his decision, but they've been kind of backed into a corner because of it. So we have the Three of Pentacles, the working together. Okay, the working together, the sharing of new ideas. It's kind of a very positive card here. Here we are. And when I say the working together, I'm going to say that right now in the perception of the public of where he is that the people now feel like that he is following what the constituents want. So that's that working together energy finally coming through. So he started this new energy. It's moving. He kind of picked up his swords and took off from his party. And he is now, and the constituents are feeling like he is finally working for the people and doing what the people wish. So moving forward is the secrets. You know, I think the thing is that there is fear, because this is also the fear card, right? I think there's fear. There's fear of the repercussions. I think that is in his energy stream, but I don't necessarily think that it's all fear, because even though his own party may be kind of, you know, giving him a few words about what he did, because now he's kind of made it more difficult for Kavanagh to get through. There's also this difficult journey. So you have this emotional run. So this would be like the women, because water is also, you know, it's very emotional. The women come forward as he's trying to get into the elevator, right? Trying to hold onto the party line, but you got to get moved. And it's like the women are these two dogs, telling him, imploring him before he heads through the gates. And then when he heads through the gates, the information shines. You know, you get the information. So this path, this is a difficult journey in your emotional, in the subconscious, right? So, it's the understanding and learning and the reflecting. Then the secrets. There's still some secrets hanging in here. It's the ability to, but since we're not talking about Kavanagh's trial, I really do think that this is that difficult journey that he's taking, and there's some fear with that involved. I mean, it is you know, he's not going to be reelected. He's already he's stepping down at the end of this term. and the new things that are coming forward. There's a little bit of fear about that. I mean, how is things going to work out for him? How is he going to take what we've done here and move it forward? What is his outlook? There's so many myriads of emotions that are hanging on the moon, and the difficult journey to get to that understanding. So I think that is his challenge. Okay, he's got some new emotional beginnings. So I think the thing is that he's going to get a fresh start, all right, out of all of this. Flake is going to get a fresh start. Where that fresh start is going to happen for him, I don't know. It doesn't say. It just is showing that his progression of where he's heading and what's going on with him. He's going to get an emotional fresh start. There's going to be a lot of emotional relief for him. It's almost like the burden. It's like when you do what the constituents wants or they need, what they, which is something so simple as saying we need due process. When you allow that to happen, then the wheel begins to turn and the people's perception begins to shift. So, but I think he's going to get a new start. So, oh yes, he's got the star. Here's hope. He's got the wish card and hope that is above him and beneath him. So overall, wherever this takes Flake, he's this one little decision for him has placed him on a new trajectory in his energetic path. It will lead him to things that I don't think he's expected. I really do think that this opens up possibilities for him in the future to remain in politics if he wishes. He needs to, learn that it's not about party line, it's about what your constituents want, and it's about helping them. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about Lindsey Graham next. So I hope to see you soon. We'll talk to you later. Bye.